Episode 5 of Chad Powers, titled Fifth Quarter, delivers exactly what fans love about the show. See a mix of awkward, laugh, out loud comedy, and unexpectedly deep character drama. The episode starts with two hilariously cringy sequences that almost make you squirm, but it doesn't stay that way. By the end, the show pivots into serious territory with a dramatic twist that completely changes the stakes for the characters. This balancing act between ridiculous comedy and heartfelt storytelling is what makes Chad Powers feel fresh and unpredictable. Hulu has really nailed the formula where the humor is sometimes uncomfortably awkward, but also grounded in genuine human emotion, and Fifth Quarter is a perfect example of that. The episode kicks off after Chad and Danny's ridiculous glue-fueled adventure, and we're immediately reminded why Chad Powers is such a captivating character. He's become the talk of the town, a mysterious celebrity that everyone, even ESPN, suddenly wants to feature. The show cleverly highlights Chad's public persona as both larger than life and completely absurd. One of the funniest scenes early on involves a young fan, a boy recently diagnosed with leukemia, who's desperate for an autograph. Chad accidentally signs his football as Russ instead of Chad, and in an attempt to fix it, he spends an absurdly long time coloring the entire football to perfection. The humor here is brutal, 5 times longer than it logically should take. But it works perfectly because it blends physical comedy with the underlying tension of Chad's double life. Next comes Chad's interview with ESPN for College Game Day. The interview itself is awkward in the best way possible. Chad casually credits Benjamin Franklin for sparking his interest in football, a response that is technically true, but hilariously irrelevant to the world of sports media. Trisha, always the pragmatic one, worries that this segment could backfire. She argues that allowing an unfiltered Chad Powers on live TV might damage the Catfish 5-0 brand. Instead, she suggests a different, more personal approach. Filming a segment at the Hudson Lake House with Ricky and Coach Hudson present to give a warmer, family-friendly impression. This contrast between what Chad wants to do and what Trisha thinks is best creates the core tension for this episode, showing how the characters constantly balance authenticity and performance. Meanwhile, Russ and Danny are in a tough spot. Now living in a luxurious Catfish-funded house, they have to maintain the Chad Powers illusion. Russ's struggle between his real identity and the persona of Chad is hilariously literal. He wears half the costume inside the house and slips in and out of the voice, creating constant moments of comedy. But underneath the loss, it's clear that Russ is emotionally torn. His growing closeness to Ricky adds another layer of tension, as he risks revealing his real self the more connected he feels. The show brilliantly mixes humor with subtle character development here, keeping the audience laughing while also highlighting Russ's inner conflict. Russ's crisis moment comes when he heads to a local bar to escape the pressure of his dual life. There, he hooks up with a random woman, and during their post-coital conversation in the back of his Cybertruck, he makes a major decision. He wants to fully embrace the Chad Powers identity, letting go of Russ Holiday completely. Danny is understandably horrified. To him, Russ's decision feels dangerously close to a breakdown, but Russ is resolute. He leaves for the TV segment in full Chad attire, committing entirely to his public persona and signaling a turning point in the story. What follows is where Fifth Quarter truly ramps up the tension. The planned family friendly segment at the Hudson Lake House quickly spirals into chaos. Chad is introduced to Wendy, Coach Hudson's wife, and it turns out she's the same woman Russ slept with the night before. This revelation immediately transforms the staged, wholesome TV spot into an awkward, emotionally charged confrontation. Wendy accuses Jake of neglecting her, while Jake fires back about her infidelity. Chad and Ricky are caught in the middle, their discomfort made all the more intense by Chad's dual identity. The show expertly mixes slapstick and awkwardness with genuine emotional stakes, making the humor feel earned instead of forced. Russ's secret identity adds another layer of drama. While sitting in disguise, he has to endure Jake's personal attacks, including Jake claiming he didn't recruit Russ in high school because he could tell Russ was a cancer. The tension here is palpable because Russ can't respond without blowing his cover. The episode cleverly uses this scenario to explore the consequences of living a double life. Every laugh is tinged with anxiety, as viewers anticipate the inevitable moment when Russ's facade might crumble. The drama peaks when Jake unexpectedly suffers a heart attack during the argument. Suddenly, the show shifts from comedy and awkward tension to life-threatening drama. Ricky quickly steps in, but the moment is chaotic and terrifying, completely upending the lighthearted setup that had been meticulously crafted earlier in the episode. This cliffhanger leaves viewers on the edge of their seats, eager to see how the characters will navigate this unexpected crisis in the next episode. One of the strongest aspects of episode 5 is how it balances humor with serious character work. The cringe comedy sequences, like Chad coloring in the football or awkward interviews, are hilarious in their own right. But the episode doesn't shy away from exploring the emotional ramifications of the characters' choices. Russ's struggle with identity, Chad's public persona, and the relationship tensions between Jake, Wendy, and Ricky are all explored with nuance, giving the comedy weight and the drama relatability. This duality is what sets Chad Powers apart from other comedies that rely solely on laughs without emotional depth. The episode also highlights the clever writing and pacing of the show. Even when the narrative shifts from comedy to drama, it feels seamless. The awkward moments build tension, and the dramatic payoff lands harder because of the laughter that precedes it. This rhythm keeps the audience engaged and ensures that both the comedic and emotional beats hit with maximum impact. The writers know when to let a scene linger for laughs and when to pivot toward character development, demonstrating an impressive understanding of tone and timing. Another element that stands out is the performances. The actors strike a perfect balance between over-the-top humor and subtle emotional cues. Russ's internal conflict is communicated not just through dialogue but through physicality and timing. Chad's awkward charm is both entertaining and sympathetic, making viewers root for him despite his flaws. Even the supporting characters, like Wendy and Jake, are given moments of depth that make their actions and reactions feel real, rather than exaggerated for comedic effect. The episode's structure also deserves attention. By starting with high-energy, cringe-inducing comedy and gradually moving into intense, personal drama, the show keeps viewers constantly guessing. The shift doesn't feel jarring because the characters' emotional journeys are consistent. The stakes just become more personal and immediate. This layering of comedy and drama is what makes Chad Powers compelling and binge-worthy, as every scene serves multiple purposes. to entertain, to build tension, and to develop the characters. Fifth Quarter also explores themes of identity, performance, and the consequences of living a double life. Russ's choice to fully become Chad Powers highlights the pressures of fame and the allure of escapism, while also examining the risks of losing oneself in a constructed persona. At the same time, the episode shows how relationships are strained by secrets and misunderstandings, whether in the professional world of sports media or personal life. These themes give the comedy more depth and make the dramatic moments feel earned, rather than inserted for shock value. The episode ends on a cliffhanger that is both shocking and fitting. Jake's heart attack changes the trajectory of the story entirely, creating immediate tension and uncertainty. It also reinforces the show's ability to blend humor with high stakes, as the audience is left simultaneously laughing at the absurdity of the setup and anxious about the outcome. This balance of comedy and drama is rare, and Chad Powers pulls it off consistently, making Fifth Quarter one of the most memorable episodes yet. Overall, Episode 5 of Chad Powers is a masterclass in tonal balance. It delivers gut-busting cringe comedy while also exploring deep emotional and psychological conflicts. Russ's internal struggle, Chad's public persona, and the unraveling personal drama with Wendy and Jake combine to create a narrative that is both hilarious and emotionally resonant. Hulu's show continues to prove that it can be funny, awkward, and heartfelt all at once, and Fifth Quarter exemplifies this better than most episodes. Fans will likely find themselves laughing out loud one moment and holding their breath the next, proving that the show's unique mix of humor and drama is still as effective as ever. In conclusion, Fifth Quarter is a standout episode for Chad Powers. It manages to deliver awkward, cringe-inducing comedy, delve into the emotional complexities of its characters, and end on a shocking cliffhanger that leaves viewers eager for the next episode. From Chad coloring the football to Russ navigating his identity crisis and Jake's sudden health scare, the episode keeps audiences engaged from start to finish. It's a perfect example of why Chad Powers is a comedy worth watching. It's funny, it's awkward, it's heartfelt, and it always keeps you guessing. Fans can't help but wonder how the events of this episode will shape the future of the Catfish 5-0 and what surprises await in the coming episodes.